KOKO, this is Johnson County Today. It's 14 before 9, and I'm looking forward to this.
So am I.
I get to visit with Patty Eschliman, whose mother I worked with here at the radio station. Patty, you can probably tell me how many years. I don't recall.
You know, I know it was almost, I think, around 15, but she is
I
definitely
was thinking the
smiling
same
on
thing.
us today.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Lynn used to work here. She did our program logs for us and whatever else I needed help with. She was right there. She did a program on the air.
Yeah, at your service.
At your service with Lynn Eschliman. Yes,
That's
indeed.
Right. Yeah.
And you work at the hospital now, and I didn't even know that.
Oh, yes. I've been there for about 10 months now. It's been a joy.
What are you doing?
I am their laboratory director. Yeah, I've been in laboratory work for 38 years now. Now, your listeners can't see my gray hair, but it has been a privilege.
Hey, it's good looking gray, though. It's mixed in with the good dark color.
There you go.
I didn't know you did that.
Yes, I've been
Where have you worked before then?
I got my degree at the time was Central Missouri State University, so UCM, and then I did my internship at Research Medical Center in Kansas City. So the first part of my career was working third shift. And,
it always is, isn't it?
Yes, as a generalist doing medical laboratory work and diagnosing and therapeutic intervention for patients, and then I went on to solid tissue transplantation. I did that for almost 8.5 years in Kansas City with the Midwest Transplant Network. And then I got into management. And so for the last 28 years, I've been in laboratory leadership. First, I moved to Lincoln, Nebraska and did physician office work. And then one of the highlights of my career was to design, implement, and staff a brand new laboratory for Madonna Rehab Hospital there in Lincoln. So I worked there for 15 years.
That's the last time I knew where you were.
Yes.
Was in Lincoln.
That's right.
So you've done a lot since then.
Well,
even.
You know, they always say you come back home. And here I am.
Here you are, back home. Well, it is definitely a pleasure to get to visit with you here today. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you look like your mom, too.
Yeah, people say that. Always tears me up a bit, but yes, there's not a day I don't miss her.
And for folks who don't realize it, too, probably, Dad was a professor at UCM.
Yes, that's correct.
Taught English, I believe.
That is correct. An English professor, yes.
Yeah, at UCM. At Central Missouri State University at the time.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, where can we start with what you do now? What's the major thing that you do at Western Missouri Medical Center?
Well, yes, I came back to this community because it was one of the probably last journeys on my career path, and it is my absolute desire to elevate the healthcare of the community where I was raised. So the job that I have is directing all the operations within the clinical laboratory. So what that means is that we do laboratory testing, everything from your glucose, if you're being monitored as a diabetic, to diagnosing leukemia and lymphoma by looking at a peripheral blood smear slide under the microscope, to genetic testing to be able to determine anything from fertility to being able to tolerate cancer drugs if you have breast cancer and things like that. So it's a very important job, and I do believe that we are hidden heroes. A lot of people don't know that there are very educated and talented people behind the scenes that are doing those laboratory testing that assist all the clinicians to be able to make those important decisions for their patients.
So what do you do, though?
Well, let me get out my hats.
I'm listening to you thinking, are you with the microscope looking at slides?
Yes, sometimes I am.
You do some of that too?
Yes,
okay.
Sometimes I do. Now, most of the time I will say that I'm, as the director, trying to hire people that are smarter than me, so that everything runs well.
Okay. I don't even know where the laboratory is. Is it right there where they draw my blood when I go in for a blood center?
Actually, that's our outpatient draw station. And so we are down on the lower level at probably the original part of the hospital. So we're down what's considered our first floor. Okay. It's kind of confusing because when you walk in for outpatient, you're walking into a floor that seems like the first floor, but it's the second floor.
There's something below that.
Yes, that's right.
Typical day-to-day for you would be what?
Well, typical day is coming in and, of course, checking on every member of my team, making sure they have all the resources they need for that day to be successful.
Who is your team? How many of you are there?
Well, I have about 27 reporting to me right now. And if you are a clinical laboratory scientist, you either have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or even a master's degree that is specifically trained in laboratory analysis. So I'm about half and half. I have about 15 scientists, and then the other part of my team is a phlebotomy team. So those professionals that draw your blood when you go in the outpatient.
Right.
And I'm very pleased to report that a lot of my phlebotomists are taking that extra mile for patient care and getting certified. And so all of us in the laboratory, particularly if you're scientists, have to be certified, and it's a very rigorous program, and once you become certified, then you can start doing clinical laboratory work.
You are?
Absolutely.
You have to be, huh?
Yes, I have to be.
Is there anything going on there we don't know about at all at the laboratory? Anything you don't do there?
Well, there would be some things. No laboratory can do 100% of every test that a physician would request us to do. There's always going to be...
Some of it is sent out?
Some of it is sent out, yes. And particularly this year has been very, very challenging. This past year, in 2021, the COVID positivity rate was so much higher than even when it began in 2020. And so what that means, and one of the things that I'm very proud of, is that laboratorians and laboratories kind of came the forefront. Everybody started knowing what we do because we did a lot of COVID testing.
Yes.
However, there was so much COVID testing going on that there was a national shortage. So you can't get, even plastics became a shortage. So even other reagents that require a plastic container, we couldn't get any of our products in. So it's a significant national issue.
That's why it took so long sometimes to get some of the tests?
Absolutely. That's where I was going with COVID. Yes, we do a lot of those testing, but if we don't have the reagents and our manufacturers can't provide it to us, we had to, search outside and get that assistance from other laboratories.
Is the laboratory in operation 24 hours a day?
Absolutely. That's the best part of it.
24,
Yes.
Somebody is there doing testing
Always.
all the time.
We always have somebody there doing testing. We always have somebody there that can collect blood as well. So we serve the emergency department as well with collecting samples.
You ever count how many you do a day? On average, how many tests of everything you do a day?
I do know that we do over 300,000 a year. So if I can put my math in that, that's almost 1,000 a day. It's a very busy laboratory. People would not realize how busy we are because, the hospital is kind of small, really. But being the county seat of Johnson County, we have a tremendous amount of outreach. So 76% of the laboratory testing that is performed in the laboratory there at Western Missouri is actually outreach or outpatient. So we have 11 clinics that we serve, all the way from Concordia to Knob Noster, and certainly within our community with women's health and internal medicine and family practice. So, a lot of testing goes on, and I'm very proud to say that there are very few laboratories that have full-service blood transfusions, which we do to serve our emergency department and our inpatients, but also a full-service microbiology laboratory, which means we can take, any sample and do those cultures and be able to identify what bacteria is making somebody sick, and very quickly then provide that information to the clinician that can prescribe the correct antibiotic.
Did COVID-19 just all of a sudden take up most of your time?
It was very stressful for every member of my team. Not only the scientists having their workload more than 5 times increase, but also our phlebotomy team that was, going out to patients' cars to do the nasal swab, to bring them in to do the testing, because we didn't want any symptomatic patients coming into our facility and making our inpatients more ill. So we had 2 full-time people just swabbing in cars, and sometimes there'd be 10 of them lined up.
They did me a couple of times.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank goodness I've never had it, though.
Oh, yes,
I've
thank
been negative
goodness.
every time. So
Yes, yes. And we're in a good spot right now with COVID. So
we are.
Yes,
I hope it stays that way.
I do too. I certainly do as well.
You have I am told here, a health holiday coming up. That
yes.
You're going to be celebrating somehow. Well, tell me about that. What
Well,
is this?
we always love to party, right? So
Sure.
next week is National Medical Laboratory Professionals Week. So it really is an opportunity, Sunday through Saturday next week, to really shine and educate not only the community, as I hope I am today, but, other healthcare professionals and our patients that, what we do and how important our process is for the overall health of all individuals.
Yeah.
I think the literature indicates that even up to 70% of all medical decisions on a patient are made with a laboratory value. So we have a tremendous impact on patient care, and love to be able to inform and educate everyone on the great work that we do and our professionalism and the talent that we have on the team.
Well, it seems to me like everybody who has some kind of illness or sickness or something, there's always lab work to be done.
Yes, there is. Absolutely.
So that would keep you guys, I would think, really busy.
Well, there's a funny meme that goes out every now and then that, without the lab, they're only guessing.
Oh, okay. That's
And I'm sure that's far from the truth, but it's kind of fun.
We in the community could do what to understand what you do and help you in the endeavor that you do, or what you're up to here?
Well, most of the patient contact would be with the individual that's drawing their blood. So, asking questions, what is this test for, and who can I contact for more information? I mean, part of our training and our education, we do have consultations with physicians as well. Sometimes they'll call down and want to know, what's the difference between this test, and which one is the best for my patient? And we can review patient charts. So we are trained to be very knowledgeable on, laboratory, the link between laboratory testing and patient health.
Do you communicate a lot with doctors and health providers at all the time?
Yes. I do in my role. We have, specific meetings where I meet with a group of physicians and make sure that certainly my laboratory testing menu is going to meet the needs for their patients. And then I have suggestions of things that I think we can add to our testing menu that will improve the care that they provide.
Is there one thing you can think of right off the top of your head that we need at the hospital we don't have?
New chemistry analyzers.
Okay, new chemistry analyzers.
Yeah, we have expensive toys.
Yeah.
And because we are a 24/7 laboratory and we serve a large geographical area, we have 2 instruments for everything that we do. And so if one goes down, we can continue doing, patient care.
And then you replace that one.
Well, no, you actually buy them together because they have warranties, but, like a chemistry analyzer can be upwards to like $300,000. So
we don't need too many of those.
Exactly. I have to be very careful and, only ask for what I absolutely need.
You're visiting with Patty Eschliman. Your title is again what?
Director of Laboratory Operations.
Director, just very simple, Director of Laboratory Operations
That's
at Western
me.
Missouri Medical Center. Gosh, I've known you how long now? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I used to come in here as a little kid and visit my mom.
Yep. Your mom and I were pretty close. Yeah. Nice to see you.
Yeah, very nice to see you.
Anything else you want to add? Anything else at
No,
all? Or we pretty much covered it today?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank the community for, trusting Western Missouri Medical Center with your health care. I know that it's a fabulous facility. I feel very privileged and proud to work there. And if you have any questions about laboratory work, you now have my name, and please ask for me.
Okay, Patty, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Patty Eschliman, our guest here on Johnson County Today.